free. Then yeah, so that is good. Okay, so this is the main topic for today. So the next tech roadmap, what language should we learn for the 2025? So each language popularity, let's check. So this is a TOB index. This TOB index, how we can, so this is a very it's kind of legacy the index which most of people may know, especially if you are a programmer engineer. If you just check the computer language index, then this is coming to top. And then C language is the top, and Java, Python, C++, CSharp, and then Visual Basic, and JavaScript. So this is a first to 7, and then PHP, assembly, and then SQL is coming following. From here, what we see is many of them are kind of legacy language. We don't see the Go, we don't see the Rust, or many of the new language here. Mostly they stay here. I'm not sure how they are calculating this, but if we see from here, this is a graph. This is C, and the C is going down. So this blue one is a C language is going down, and also Java is also going down, and the Python is slightly going up. This Python tendency, the going up tendency, is still we can see in the different index. For example, this is PIPL popularity of the programming language. According to them, the Python is number 1, and Java and JavaScript, C#, they are following. So C++ and the PHP, R language, TypeScript. Most of the first top 10 is more or less it's similar. So this is a tendency. From here, what we can see is the Python is surpassing the many other language. So now it's most popular. And this is Java. Java is the second one. And the third one is JavaScript. And this is a Google trend. The Google trend is, I check from last 5 years. So the 5 years, Java, Python, PHP, C++, JavaScript, mostly it's kind of similar, like it's flat. But however, Python, even this Google trend, the Python is number 1. So the Python's the popularity is probably real. That is most of the index saying that Python is number 1 so far. This is a red monk, which right side, this one is coming from the GitHub. Left side is coming from the Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is a question answers website. Then the GitHub is a source code. You can just upload source code. You can download source code here. So from here, JavaScript and then Java, Python, all these 3 is most popular. And then following is like C#, C++, Ruby, TypeScript. Yeah, so the rest of things is still here, but it's mostly like minor language. Okay, so this one is another survey from the Stack Overflow. The Python is number 1. Even here, like the wanted. JavaScript is second, Go, TypeScript last, and then Kotlin, Java, C++. Here, this one is like which language they are using in the work, in overall. This one is wanted. This one is actual one. So JavaScript, HTML, CSS, SQL language, and then Python, Java, like that. So let's check one by one. Oh, by the way, this one is red, which means like it's not so popular. Not popular. I mean, like people don't want to use VBA, Objective-C, Perl, Assembly-C, PHP, Ruby, C++. It's kind of understandable list. Okay. So then let's check one by one current trends. So Java is mainly the backend usage. Most of people who is using Java, they are just using other backend. Like Java upgrade, they did they are dead. Long time ago, maybe like 10 to 15, more than 15 years ago, Java was still used in the client side, even web, but nobody is using the front end anymore. So the Java mainly it's backend language. Current usage is dying now. And Spring Boot is one of the most popular framework. Oracle territory. This one is vendor. It's owned by the Oracle. So that's why the Google and then Oracle they had a court issue, and then they're fighting against the API SDK. So so that's why Google retreated from Java the contribution, and they start using more different language, Go or Kotlin. So this is background, and then Java current trend is as you can see here, it's downtrend. Even including the Spring Boot, actually like this too is the most popular framework, but still overall the Java is going down, and then this is a support. From here, like if we most of people who is using Java, they use like either 11 or 11 mostly, or 8. This one is already legacy, become legacy, but now the most of people is using 11 because like a long time support. And then 17 is coming soon. That is this 2021, this year. Okay, so this is support for the Java. The good thing about Java is the support is very long. It's almost 5 years, 2018 to 2023. So this is a long life support, which is good. So next one is JavaScript. JavaScript is mostly the cloud-based language, means mostly front-end. And most of the company who want to create something for the cloud-based website, they have to use JavaScript. The reason is because this is the only language we can use in the website, the front end. Browser company are tied and collaborating each other. Means like JavaScript is basically unless we have like a browser, it cannot run. It cannot runtime is basically like V8 engine, and then that is coming from the browser. The most of the browser is coming from Chromium, and then Chromium is an open source browser. So many of the browser company like the Safari is coming from Apple, and then Firefox, and also the Microsoft, and then also Google. They actually tied up collaborating to make it standardized. So that is a good thing. And also React, Angular, Vue. Those three are most popular framework as a front end. If you want to find a job, you can find a job easily if you know about any of those. Strong support from the Node.js. So Node.js is still backend. It's still high. It's very popular trend, and then it's backend people are still some people are using this Node.js, and also the additionally like TypeScript and Dart are also used as a subset for the JavaScript, especially the TypeScript. Yeah. And the next one is, so this is a current trend. JavaScript, Node.js, TypeScript, React.js, and then React Native. Everything is uptrend. So meaning is like if we consider about 2025, JavaScript definitely is there. So we still have to keep learning the JavaScript. Okay, so this is a support. It's now the 2021. So yeah, previously ES6, ES7 or something like that. They changed the name like this. Okay. Next one is Python, AI data analytics. Mostly people are using for this purpose. Not so strong on the client backend. So like client side, they don't use like Python. Backend, they have the Django, but not many people, not many company is using Django. TensorFlow, PyTorch, and Spark, like this kind of data or AI stuff. Most of the engineers use in that area. So they use like Python. So the strong education language too. So if they join the university, start learning about a computer language, they start from Python or Java or such a easy language. This one is learning cost is not that high, so it's easy to acquire. So Python is still uptrend, and then it's mostly uptrend. And then Django, TensorFlow, it's still here, and it's also uptrend too. And then this is a support. Currently, latest version is 3.9, and then 2.x is already dead. They don't support anymore. So we have to switch everything from 2 to 3. Okay, now the PHP, the backend language, and then Laravel is the most popular framework. WordPress Wix, many web service is using the PHP. So the PHP is still in some area they are still using PHP, but not so. If you want to work for some cutting edge company, they don't use like PHP as a backend. PHP is currently the downtrend. Laravel is become popular as a framework, but still language itself is downtrend. And then one of the problem about the PHP, I think you can mention many of the problem about the PHP, but one of the problem is the support here. The support is not that long. And also another reason is migration is very tricky. Especially they sometimes ignore the error or configuration. Many things it's not so. This language is not made for not good for the collaboration. If you have a big company, if you are working for the bank or some critical backend you have to control, I think they don't choose a PHP. So, but anyway, so this is it's currently downtrend. So maybe if you want to learn something new, you better skip this. Sorry. Next one is a C++. Most critical project they are using C++. Latest version is a C++ 20, and then no vendor dependency, and then less human resource. That means not many people are using C++ nowadays. So it's not easy to find the human resource, but many the project is using the C++. It's because it's very fast and it's very critical. As I mentioned this one the last session, C++ is still used for the many significant projects like the database, browser, many things, financial area too. So we cannot ignore this language. But however, the people who start using the C++ is very less. So the engineer for the C++ is very precious. And this one is currently the trend is I can say flat, recently flat. But however, the language itself is it's evolving since it's starting 1970 plus till now. They keep updating, and then they have back compatibility too. C++ 11, 14, 17, 20 mostly. And now that this one is the most latest one in C++ 20, it's becoming more intuitive. So maybe if you want to join some like a database company or a financial company, definitely you need to learn about C++. But otherwise, if you wanna do like a startup company, like you wanna start the very small application, then I think it's not necessary. Okay, so the C-Sharp, Microsoft language, integrate all the .NET framework into the .NET Core, mobile backend, front-end. They support a front-end to the backend too. Strong support by Microsoft. The good thing about the C-Sharp is it's very, very strong support from Microsoft. And since they keep updating, and the big company are very relieved to use this language. So most of the big company, for example, like a bank or whatever, so those tend to use this. But still like a downtrend. C Sharp, SP.NET Core, .NET Core, Xamarin. Yeah, Xamarin is, yeah, it's going down. Everything is, it's not so popular now. So, but their roadmap is very clear. Previously, before Windows 10, they used to use like a .NET framework. The .NET framework is we call .NET, but however they switch .NET Core, which this one is supporting not only the Windows but also Linux and also Mac. So after they start supporting the different platform, they integrate into one place, which is currently, I think, that this is .NET 5.0. They are trying to integrate everything into one. This is a .NET 5, and desktop, web, cloud, mobile, gaming, IoT, AI, everything under this .NET 5. And that is their solution, what they are aiming. And then yeah, even like the legacy application like the WPF, Windows Phone, they still run runnable on this framework, so .NET 5. So that is a good thing. So they are still evolving and they are still making advance. So we cannot ignore this one too if you want to work in the big company. Yeah. And also, this is another one, the Ruby backend language. Ruby on Rails is the most popular framework. Mostly, startups tend to use this as a backend. However, current trend is going down. Ruby and Ruby on Rails. Yeah, so most of the startup company won't like to use the Ruby because like, it's very easy, simple. Everything is coming together. But however, the trend is down. And this is Objective-C and it's Swift. Mainly like iOS, Mac OS language depends on the market share of the Apple. Mobile backend and front end, they mainly, I think, most people who use like a Swift, they go into the mobile. Strongly supported by Apple. So yeah, Objective-C is like a C++. It's because the idea of that Objective-C, like smart pointer of those stuff, is very similar to C++. Swift, they change completely. It's like Python. So make it more simpler and it's much easier to use. Now it's making the application for the iOS. We can create the from the Swift. And then Swift is basically this is a trend. Objective-C is going down, whereas this Swift is it's going down, but basically stay here, stay here. And this is a Swift UI they recently introduced. Swift and the Swift UI is quite different. The Objective-C and the Swift, although the language itself is different, but the idea or like delegation or those kind of things is very similar. So but Swift UI is completely different. So you may a bit confused when you start learning about Swift UI. Okay, next one, then Kotlin. Android language and depends on the market share of the Android and the mobile and backend, strongly supported by Google. So the Kotlin is also very it's getting popular now. Let's check about this. So this the Kotlin the popularity is going up, just keep going up. One of the reason is the Google, they don't want to use the Java. They want to switch from the Java to Kotlin because of the as I mentioned, they have the code issue with Oracle, and then another reason is much simpler. Java is also simple, but the Kotlin is simpler. It's kind of similar to what I can feel. It's very similar to the Swift. And then the Kotlin, it will work on the Java virtual machine. Although the Java virtual machine, the popularity is going down, so that's why maybe many people is switching from the Java virtual machine language to something else. Okay, now the Kotlin and Flutter, so the ultimate comparison. So basically, like I'm not sure if you know or not, but the Google is start to introducing new OS, which is not Android, Flutter OS, and then that is the new operating system. And then that will use like this Flutter technology, not the Kotlin. So I wonder if they replace all the operating system from the Android to Flutter OS, then let's see, like if they I don't think they will completely deprecate the Kotlin, but probably they want to push more the Flutter. So like Dart, so Dart and the Flutter is kind of set, like the combination. So you probably like to learn is Flutter maybe. Then another one, this is Go, the compiler language, popular on the backend, and then not operating OOP things. Seems like that strongly supported by Google. Go is become very popular now, and then mostly like this one is used in the backend. I'm not sure if we can create like a mobile application from Go or not, but mainly this one is backend language, and then this is a tendency. This popularity is going up. Now the Scala, Haskell, F#, functional programming language, right? So the popularity is declining now. Not so many resources, means like human resource. So functional programming language is very interesting approach, and we can probably reduce a bug. But however, not so many people is acquiring the idea. So that's why even though your company or some company start a new project, they cannot find like easily the human resource. So now after project, the company noticed that this trend is going down now. And the R language, data analytics language, and for the data scientist and the analytics language. So many non-programmer people go from here, especially for this the university student starting who want to learn about the data scientist things. They start from R language. R language is also very popular, especially the big data stuff. And then, so I will summarize. We still have like many industry in the IT, e-commerce, video communication, game, the AI, AR, VR, fintech. For example, like e-commerce, right? E-commerce is basically they have to create like a mobile application and the backend. The mobile application, yes, they have choice. They can choose like the hybrid application, or they can choose Kotlin or Swift. They mostly they like to choose either one of them for the native. And the video communication system, still front end, back end. Sometimes people use like C++, Java, and also Ruby. So back end, front end, yeah, it's different. And then if they are making in the cloud-based website application, then they use like JavaScript, of course. Then game, right? So game is basically C# or C++ because Unity and then Unreal Engine, they use either one thing. Okay. Then another one is AI. AI, basically this one is dominant by the Python. So the Python is used here. And the AR VR. AR VR is still C# and then C++. Again, this one is Unity and the Unreal Engine reason. Fintech is backend is it's different. Maybe like some people might use the Node.js, some people might use Java, some people might use like the Go, and the front end is again it's a JavaScript, right? So mobile is again I just say like Kotlin or Swift or other the JavaScript, React Native or those stuff. So my suggestion is you can provide like master like 3 or 4 language from like just now I mentioned there. Anyway, like you don't lose anything by learning this 3-4 language. If you just learn only the JavaScript, doesn't mean you I can call you as an engineer. You have to learn many things. So so that's it today. So thank you so much for coming. Hopefully this will be helpful for you. I'm not sure like if you yeah, so I have like many archive about my session, and also I introduced many different technology in the different time. So if you want to check, then you can just check about my YouTube video. That's it. Yeah, so thank you.